What up, what up, what up, my kings and queens? Your boy Chef Boy C's back again with yet another video. Just want to thank you guys, my new subscribers, my new fans, the people who've been supporting me. I want to thank you guys. You know what I'm saying? It's a little hard to stay consistent and stay inspired after all these, videos I've been putting out, and it's a little hard. It's a gradual growth, but every week we're gonna keep grinding it out, keep doing what we do best, baby, and keep spreading the love. So that's the most important part. On today's video, as you can see, we got a new little setup, little quality. I got a new camera I want to test out. Been doing some test runs with it. I don't want to make a beat from scratch since I've actually already made a beat. I made the song for my songwriters out there. I'm gonna break down my process, show you guys a little bit of how I tackle writing a song and arrange and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get it. All right, guys, so I created a little list here. I got my phone here with little notes and stuff of a couple. I have a list of 7 tips that I've made for becoming a better songwriter. These are things that have helped me in the past, and maybe could help you out. So the first one that I have here is to create a story. So the reason why you're creating a story is it basically just helps the audience follow along really with what's going on in your song. It could be something like introducing a new character in your lyrics, a new perspective. Could be talking about a scenario, painting a picture with your words. So that's really important. You want to always keep that in mind, especially when you're starting out from scratch. Is okay, what is this song going to be about? What story am I telling? Or if it's not a story, maybe what message am I portraying? What am I trying to communicate with the audience? So create a story. That's number one. And it's one of the most important tips that you have to do in order to capture and engage with the audience. So tip number 2 is you want to tap into your own experiences, and that makes it easier to come up with the lyrics. And since it's true experiences that you've actually had to deal with, it's going to sound more genuine. The song is going to feel more authentic. It's going to feel like, you're not making something up. It's not just something you just made up. And that in turn is going to connect you with the audience too as well, because you got to remember that the listener, they're human too. They have emotions. So once you start tapping into your own emotions and start feeding and start threading that into the lyrics, the listeners is going to pick up on that. They pick up on the vibes that you throw out, and that's definitely an important thing. It gets a little bit weird when it's like, damn, like, okay, I want to write from my own experiences, but I don't want to expose this person, or I don't even want to tell the story. I want to keep it a secret or whatever. And I have a lot of things that I've been through that have made me feel that way. It's something that, like, damn, like this can be a dope song, but like, damn, I don't want to put it out because this person's gonna think about this or whatever. When things like that happens, or when you're feeling that way, you can mesh it together. You can create a story and mix it with your experiences, and it could be just a whole new story, a whole new experience for the listener. So that's something to keep in mind too as well. Tip number 3 is listen to music that inspires you. Usually what I do is, before I start recording, before I start making these videos, I'll throw on like some Kid Cudi or some like Cole or something like that, or some Kendrick, and really listen. I've listened to the songs that they've made 1,000 times, but every time I'm trying to get inspired, I'm looking for something new. I'm looking for maybe, a new meaning with the lyrics, or a new melody, or anything that is like, damn, like makes you like, damn, that's dope. Maybe I could take a little bit of that juice and apply it to my thing and flip it around and make something new. So it's really important to stay inspired, draw from that muse that you have, all you creatives out there, and listen to music that inspires you so you can feel inspired. what I do to get inspired is obviously listen to music that inspires me. I also like to read. I have a lot of books. I have a library in the room next door full of books that are primarily like self-development books, but I know people who like read like, you know, like the Word of God to get inspired. You know, if that's you, then by all means do that. Maybe you can pray before you start getting into the songwriting process. You know, crack the door, let God in, and let the song write itself. So that's it for tip number 3. Moving on to the next tip is tip number 4. And tip number 4, I wrote down, come up with a feel, you know, a vibe for the song. Now, it kind of depends too on if you produce the track yourself, if you're picking a track from somewhere else, online, whatever, you know. But when you're writing a story, you want the lyrics to match the actual track, the actual instrumental of the track. You want those to match together. An example could be like The Weeknd or something like that. You know, The Weeknd, his lyrics are very raw, very dark, very direct, and his beats resemble his lyrics. You know, they're very dark, they're very melodic beats, and the voice and the beats, it becomes one. It basically marries the instrumental. Think about the way that Drake and 40 the way 40 produced Drake. You know, Drake has a beautiful voice. His voice is so powerful that 40 literally takes the high end of, well, I don't know, I think I saw an interview, I don't know exactly how he does it, but he basically like makes it to where the high end of the track, it sounds like it's underwater basically, and that leaves rooms for the vocals for Drake. So, and that works for him. So when you're writing your lyrics, you're coming up with your story, you want to make sure you pick an instrumental. This is so important. Pick an instrumental or a track that matches your voice, and your voice in turn can be married to the track. So that's another tip. Tip number 5 is don't force your work. And this is the tip that I still struggle with to this day. You know, I'm in the studio trying to come up with something, you know, for you guys, and I'm like, damn, this needs to be dope. You know, I need to make a banger, or this I need to rap. You know, or I need to do this type of sound, or I need to do this. Like, no, don't go into the studio thinking you're gonna make the next big hit. Think that, you always need to think that, but you can't let that box in your ideas that you may have, that may come up randomly whenever you're coming up with things, you know, lyrics and words to put together and stuff like that. I can't even tell you how many times I've, you know, went into the studio, locked in, I was so ready, you know what I'm saying, came through, you know what I'm saying, we turned up, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna make a banger. And I'm doing my thing or whatever, and all of a sudden, like, I ended up writing like a love song or something like that, or something soft, the opposite of like what I went into it with, the vibe that I went to with it. So something I had to learn over the years is, you know, go in there with a clear mind. You know, be open to everything. Be open to everything that comes through you. You know, sometimes I'll make a beat and I'll find a new sound, and I'm like, yo, this kind of sounds kind of dope, but it'll change up the whole vibe of the track. And then I'll almost like put that first track that I was working on pause, bring this sound in, throw in a couple other things, and now I have a brand new, a whole nother vibe, brand new song. But it wouldn't have happened if I, you know, wasn't open-minded. You know, instead of saying like, well, let me see what this sounds like, and keeping it going, you know, it's almost like an adventure of like you're going through like a journey of sounds, looking through, you know, trying to find something that makes sense. But it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't open-minded. So always keep an open mind. Don't ever force your work. You should never force your work. It should just flow right to you. Some of the best songs I've written have been literally, I've written maybe like in, no exaggerating, like literally like from like 15 minutes to 30 minutes, you know what I mean? Like max like an hour or something like that. Some of the best songs I've ever written have been instantaneously, literally. And moving on to the next tip. The next tip is, oh, and also to backtrack real quick, I have here an extra tip that goes along with rule number 5, don't force your work, is part of not forcing your work requires you to pretty much dig through and dump out all the garbage lyrics that we all have, that you have, to get to the good stuff. You can't quit, you know, oh, I have writer's block, whatever. Like, no, keep on writing, keep on going. You know, eventually you know, you'll get to the end of the page, you flip that page and a new idea will pop up. I promise you. You know, I remember seeing an interview with J. Cole, and he was talking about, you know, they're asking him, oh, what's your songwriting process and this and that. And he would say that for, you know, when he was writing whatever album it was, I forgot what it was like for like 3 months, he would wake up. The first thing he would do when he would wake up, he would roll over, grab a notebook and pen and just write nonstop. I think it was like for like 3 minutes or something like that, or for however many minutes. But the only rule was you're not allowed to take your pen off the page. You see what I'm saying? It's just like your freestyle, right? So it could be like, oh, okay, I'm here. You know, it's gonna be an amazing day. I had a dream last night, I can't remember it, but now I'm thinking about breakfast, what am I gonna eat? You know what I'm saying? So, and what that does, it trains your mind, it trains your body, and it just trains your subconscious to not force anything, you know, which is really important. So that's tip number 5, don't force anything, okay? Okay, tip number 6 is going to be, keep it simple, catchy, easy words to remember. So think about when, let's say if you are thinking about, you know, writing a song, eventually you're gonna have to perform it. If this is the route that you're taking, eventually you're gonna have to get on stage and perform the song. So what I do is, you know, for tip number 6, keeping it simple, easy words to remember, is I imagine me on stage, and I imagine, you know, 1,000 people in the crowd chanting the words. And you want to make it to where it's easy for people to remember. You want to make it to where it's easy and quick and catchy to remember, because people are literally slow. You know what I mean? So there's some slow ass people out there. You know, you're probably not, because you're subscribed to me and I fuck with you. But there's some slow ass people out there that, you know, shit, even me sometimes, like, I got to listen to the song like 10 times to even remember, you know, the words or whatever. But yeah, so easy to remember, easy words. Don't try and like overcomplicate anything, especially when it comes to the hook. Okay, so that's tip number 6. Moving on to the next tip. Tip number 7 is make it sound like a conversation. This is probably by far one of the most important tips that I'm gonna give you guys. You want to make it sound like a conversation. If you listen to a lot of Drake's music, referencing back to him, is he's an amazing songwriter. You know, whether or not he writes a song, it doesn't matter. Like, however he puts them together is amazing. His lyrics and the way he creates the storyline, it makes it sound like, you know, it could be 10 million people listening to Drake at the same time, but when you put those headphones in, you listen to Drake, it sounds like he's talking to you directly. You see? So keep in mind, the same way you would go and talk to a girl or a guy or anybody, you know, you want to make that process and that song sound like a conversation. Tip 2 that my friend gave me a while back is what he does is he'll write down the lyrics, whatever, and reads the lyrics, but with no music, just the words. He just reads it on his phone, and if it doesn't sound like a conversation to him, like he's like scrolling through messages or something like that, he'll go back and he'll change a couple things, whatever needs to be changed. So those are my 7 tips to help you guys to become a better songwriter. I'm gonna go from the top. Number 1, create a story. Number 2, tap into your own experiences. Number 3, listen to the music that inspires you. 4, come up with a feel, a vibe for the song that matches the storyline and your voice. Number 5 is don't force your work. Number 6 is keep it simple, catchy, easy words to remember. Remember the performance example I gave you. Remember to think about if you're on stage and people are chanting the words. And number 7 is make it sound like a conversation. So those are my 7 tips to help you guys out. I want to give you guys a little example of a song I made yesterday. I made the song yesterday, and it's only hook, verse, hook, very easy. But I'm let you listen to let you guys listen to it and go from there. Maybe break it down or something like that. So let's get it. All right, so I'm gonna read the lyrics. I'm gonna maybe turn the camera on or something like that so you can see my screen. I gotta get that whole screen recording thing down. I'm kind of lazy to do right now. Anyways, I'm gonna show you guys the lyrics, let you listen to the song, and see how I kind of meshed everything together. So the first thing I did was I basically created a story. So this story is a love story. In the case of the person singing the song, the hook goes like this. Now remember what I said about the conversation? The hook goes like this. I went for it. I went for it all. You know me. Not usually for me, but something about you shifts me. You spin me around 360. You spin me around 360. So that's how the hook goes. The verse goes like this. No need to worry, we got all the time in the world. Dividing my curls in half. You playing with me while I'm rubbing that ass. But taking my time, don't take it too fast. We drinking your favorite wine, it's straight from the glass. Remember back when we were younger, I would make your ass laugh, and reminiscing up on the times I made you skip class. We would lay in bed all day, but you still passed. I mean, it's gotta count for something. You gotta help your mama see that one day I'm gonna be your husband. You said you want my eggs, I think I'll give you about a dozen. We can lay in bed all day and I wake up to the sunsets. Just a little appreciation, ain't no telling where we gonna take it. Just a little appreciation, ain't no telling where we gonna take it. So, as you can see, going back to the hook, I went for it all. You know me, I don't usually do this, but something about you shifts me, you spin me around 360. So this guy here is doing literally a full 360 on the way he carries himself, treats his girl, overall just lives his life. And he's telling you that, he has this girl who makes him feel like she's completely spun his life around, is making him a better person. And you can hear that in the verse and in the hook. So I'm gonna let you listen to the song and go from there. And yeah, it has a little bit of a rock vibe, indie rock vibe, which is the vibe that I went for with this. So listen to this, tell me what you think. Let's get it. No need to worry, got all the time in the world, dividing my curls in half. You playing with me while I'm rubbing that ass, but taking my time, don't take it too fast. We drinking your favorite wine, it's straight from the glass. Remember back when we were younger, I would make your ass laugh and reminisce upon the times I made you skip class. We would lay in bed all day, but hey, you still passed. Yeah, I mean it's gotta count for something, gotta help your mama see that one day I'ma be your husband. Said you want my eggs, I think I'll give you about a dozen. We can lay in bed all day and not wake up to the sunsets. Just a little appreciation, ain't no telling where we gon' take it. Yeah, just a little appreciation, ain't no telling where we gon' take it. I went for it all, you know me. Not usually for me, but something about. Do you guys see a little bit of how I kind of meshed the instrumental and the way everything kind of flows together? It sounds organic, it sounds authentic, it sounds like I'm actually drawing from some type of personal experience. The hook is very easy to repeat and to remember. You spin me around 360. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's very easy to remember. So we got the hook out the way. Going into the verse is very conversational. No need to worry, we got all the time in the world, dividing my curls in half. You playing with me while I'm rubbing that ass, but taking my time, don't take it too fast. We drinking your favorite wine, it's straight from the glass. Remember back when, you know what I'm saying? So it's very conversational. You know, those type of songs where it's like, you know, you wanna learn all the lyrics so you can rap to it because it feels good. It's like Hell Yeah Fucking Right by Drake. You know, that nigga just took off. Anyways, yeah guys, so that's pretty much it. I guess I'll let the song play again, maybe towards the end or something like that. But just wanted to come through for all my creatives, all my songwriters out there, give you 7 tips to elevate and level up your songwriting. So if you enjoyed this video, give your boy a thumbs up, subscribe, please. Like always, I send you guys infinite love, infinite prayers. May the Fourth be with you. Peace. I went for it.